So warm welcome, everybody. Thank you very much. In our latest interview with AI leaders, as it impacts financial planning and financial advice, really interesting space to be in right now. Very, very exciting. Everything's moving so fast, but that in itself creates a few issues, which we'll kind of talk about. So my name's Phil. I'm the founder of Life Talk, which is the world's longest running online community for advisors. We've been going for over 20 years. Our Facebook group's been going for 18 years. Our LinkedIn group about 19 years. And for those of you that don't know it, it's a community where financial advisors use it to network, share best practice, exchange ideas, have a moan about providers, get marketing tips, and it's a really thriving community, which we're very proud of. But one of the topics that comes up a lot these days is, of course, AI. Up until now, the main topic of, I say the main topic, the question that comes up more than anything else is generally speaking around marketing and lead generation. But it's really interesting to see how the shift has changed. Technology has always been a talking point, but people are really trying to get their heads around where it's going. One of the things I'm seeing from my kind of helicopter view of Life Talk is some interesting reactions to AI from advisors. There is a certain amount of overwhelm, which I think is understandable. We've got a number of providers like yourselves these days, and there are one or two names that advisors haven't heard of before, so we're kind of learning. So certain amount of overwhelm, and I get that kind of common question, Phil, which tool do you think I should use for this? Which we might just explore that question as to whether or not it's the right question. Also seeing a certain amount of underwhelm as well. I think from the advisors that are still very, very focused on face-to-face relationships, there's a kind of view on AI. Well, is that it? Is that all it does? Blah blah blah. There's one or two that aren't really all that fussed about it at all. But what is really interesting is there's a kind of small percentage of financial advisors who are unbelievably excited about AI. I mean, literally unbridled excitement. Some of them stand up all night creating their own AI agents, trying to figure it out. And what was interesting, the very first of the sort of early adopters, guess what? The first thing they said, could AI do? Could it create suitability reports? So we will doubtless talk about that as well. Something else that's coming out of what I'm seeing happening is kind of five scenarios based around AI and where we might be going with this. Scenario number one is that we actually all carry on as we are now, not a lot of change. Yes, we get more efficient in the back office, which is obviously exciting, and that creates more opportunities for people. To me, I don't think that's necessarily big and exciting enough scenario for me, and we'll explore that a bit more. Scenario number two is a real scenario, but it is a scenario, and that is we end up with no more financial advisors. We hear this all the time. We hear people say, well, accountants are going to disappear, lawyers are going to disappear. We're already hearing that a lot of entry-level jobs in business are starting to disappear. Eric Schmidt, formerly of Google, was saying the other day, he thinks obviously it's nonsense that we'll have no more accountants. We will probably end up with more accountants doing more sophisticated stuff and doing it a lot faster. He also said we'll have more lawyers doing more sophisticated stuff, and there's a very good chance then that we'll have more financial advisors as well, possibly looking at different models. Third scenario is yes, more financial advisors doing more sophisticated stuff, maybe looking at different markets, the advice gap, and so on and so forth. And I think in many ways that's probably the route we're going to go down. But the fourth scenario is the one I'm kind of really excited about, and that is that more people will now be able to access financial advice, education, and information. Financial advisors will be able to create, and we're already starting to see it happen, will be able to create completely new business models at scale, at very low cost, and really quickly. And I think that is where the advice gap is really going to get tackled. Interesting thing, again, we'll talk about this. It was on Christmas Eve last year that OpenAI announced that you could actually add ChatGPT as a contact within WhatsApp. And I thought nothing of it at the time. It was just an announcement. And it turns out in the United States, you can actually phone up ChatGPT and have a conversation with it. Can't do that in the UK just yet. But the more I began to think about it, I thought, blimey, this is actually quite profound. When you consider that almost 80% of the UK adult population use WhatsApp every day, if it is that easy to get information on personal financial advice, that has very profound implications. So I kind of thought I'd give this a go, tested it out, went on to ChatGPT on WhatsApp and I said, "Hi, I'm a dentist. I'm nearing retirement. I haven't got my financial planning ducks in a row." I gave it some numbers, and within a second, it gave me a three-page report, which was actually quite good. So AI is appearing everywhere. Fifth scenario, I think we're going to see the role of financial advisors changing. When you consider also that life expectancy is increasing, it's entirely feasible that that a financial advisor could have a client for what, 50 years potentially, something like that. And again, it's already happening. I think we're going to start seeing financial advisors with kind of one foot in the financial planning space and one foot in the life coaching space. And I know a lot of advisors don't thank me for saying that, but I think we're already starting to see that, to be really quite honest. So exciting things ahead. Wesley, co-founder of Automwrite, what are your thoughts on all of that?
Well, thank you, Phil. First of all, thank you very much for welcoming us onto this webinar today. We're really happy to be here. Congratulations on 19 years of running the Facebook group. You're probably one
Certainly.
of the very first Facebook groups created at that time, and
Very different back then from how they are now. Very different.
I'm sure you noticed a lot of changes and developments on what Meta are doing and Meta getting into AI. So
Yeah.
let's watch that space, and I'm sure there'll be some pretty interesting developments.
Um,
Yeah, as you mentioned,
I I might have some thoughts as well, Wes. Whenever you want me to jump in, let me know. Okay.
I'm Wesley Gibson. I'm co-founder of Automwrite. I'm here today on this webinar with Logan. Logan is the founder of Automwrite. He's also a DIP PFS qualified software engineer. So that comes in handy when we're building.
That's quite rare, I would say.
It's very rare.
So weird, so weird, so weird competition. Yeah.
It's a weird combination, but it's actually extremely helpful when we're writing and building software to
Mm.
help financial advisors. He's like my secret weapon in terms of understanding, what advisors want, and he understands very well what needs to be in these suitability reports. And we're also on the call today with Liam. Liam, he's our technical lead. He's a software engineer. Fun fact about Liam, he loves scuba diving. So if anyone has any questions about where's the best places in the world to scuba dive, Liam can definitely help you there. Yeah, Liam's worked extensively um, in software and in finance. He worked previously for Microsoft, Bitvavo, who's a huge crypto platform in Netherlands, and also Google. And he's been with Automite for I think about a year now, something like this. Time it flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
Uh,
how did yes, so got Logan, you were going to say something?
I, I like these. I like those questions a lot, Phil. I'd like to jump into some of those if there's
Yeah,
the
go for it.
opportunity. Don't mean to interrupt if you have a follow-up question, but I
No,
took a
yes,
few
let's
notes.
keep this fairly loose. So, yeah, let's hear it.
So, um, so I think broadly, so I can go through them one by one, but broadly, we're looking at the state of financial advice, right? 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And when, so I was an advisor as well. I start off like some advisors do nowadays. It didn't used to be that way previously, but I start off in power planning, right? Then I moved to advising as advisor in the UK, as well as in the US. So, um, like I would say, like the so what we used to be seeing is a lot of things like, at least not anymore, but 5, 10 years ago, like defined benefit pensions were a thing that advisors used to kind of look over. Right now, it's a little bit more, legislation, and of course, benefits of the clients and so forth. But legitimately, because of the low interest rates on bonds, like and the low yield, you'd have clients that have like really big transfer values, and this was before like a bull market. So, and I'm not trying to go into like in too much detail, but if clients did transfer at the time, they're probably very well off at the moment, right? Depending on market conditions, what they invested into, and so forth. And we're looking at like clients that grew up. I mean, like just like my parents' generation as well. Like you went to work and you didn't think about it very much, and you're getting ready for retirement. You've got a pension, that's worth hundreds of thousands, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So either you have some type of DB a scheme, or you've got defined contribution scheme, or something else like that, right? So, but now we're in a position where people today, like the workforce, right? If you look at the workforce, the amount of people that actually had access to just continuous saving, whether it was the growth that they had from their second or third property, whether it was something unintentional and something that their workplace would do for them. Like I mean, a lot of cases we have are the consolidation cases, right? You have someone's been working throughout their whole life. They're in their 60s. And now they have 4 or 5 pensions that are actually pretty decently valued, and they might find a pension they didn't even know of, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, but the position that this is like, if you're man, it's not a very good analogy, but I mean, if you compare this like the fishing industry, where there's a lot more fish previously, right? And you look at it today, there's a lot less. So if you look at like the people that are in their 20s, 30s, and 40s today, how much of those people are going to have a substantial amount of pension savings in 20 years' time when it comes time for retirement? So if we're looking at the horizon of where a financial advisor is going to be, I think economics are going to play a pretty big role, as well as like all different types of legislation and how that's going to be affecting the access that advisors have to clients that have actual assets that they're able to service. So where I'm getting with this, so kind of like, where does AI kind of come in to this? It will allow certain advisors to be certainly more efficient, and I can kind of go over the questions one by one to go through what I think is the most likely scenario. But I agree with your assessment. How we're going to have, I think we'll have fewer advisors that play a more sophisticated role for fewer clients that have significantly more assets. And you mentioned the life coach model, which is very popular in the US. It's true. A lot of them, they try to advertise themselves as the doctor for their finances, right? You have a lot more of these like family offices that deal with a tremendous amount of wealth and that type of thing. And there is a consolidation of wealth, I think, that we're seeing. So I do think it will probably mean few advisors, and the role that AI will play will be one, certainly, because you get access to significantly better data a lot faster, right? Your ability to make decisions are a lot better. Like, for instance, something that we're working on. We have a few things in a roadmap, so I don't want to go through all of it. But one of the things that is very close to being released is just the ability to take a glance at your client bank. And it's like, okay, well, what could I easily do to service some of these clients? And if you look at financial advisors overall, I've been in a lot of firms where they'll say, so, have you thought about, like, from top down, have you thought, from higher ups, have you thought about doing some more protection cases, right? There's a lot of, just a more inheritance tax for your clients. People might be focusing on pension switches, or I know with Prudential, investment bonds were very popular for a while and stuff like that. So there's some kind of themes that go on the market, but there could be value that you could extract from your client bank, and you'll be able to actually do that at a glance. So you'll be able to better service your clients more easily, and not go through, hundreds and hundreds of files just to be able to see what opportunities are there for the clients to better service them. And of course, for myself as an advisor to continuously build assets under management. So we're in a situation where AI is going to be able to help, like, with data, and then we can go into type of predictive models and other types of things, which goes in line with your thoughts on life coaching, because you'd be able to better help someone. People want to abstract away their problems. You want to be able to tell somebody, look, where you are today in 10 years time, you could be in this position, and to actually be accurate with that assessment.
Yeah.
And the data will be able to support the advisors to be able to make those decisions, and be able to have clients that have more confidence into those advisors that are giving more sophisticated financial advice. But to kind of like go through the scenarios, just real briefly, like Karen, where we are now, I think that's unlikely.
Mhm.
And people that have spent a lot of time using large language models, you really start to notice the training. And if anybody's used like, was it Grok 3 or Grok 2 or something else, like, I mean, it's running off of a specific data, right? You know that it's been trained. Same thing with O3. I think O1 was actually better. I actually think ChatGPT 4 is probably pretty good in terms of models, but it must have cost opening a lot of money, because they wanted to shut that one down pretty quickly in favor of 4.0. But
Yeah.
look, extremely efficient software. Ultimately, that's what AI is very, very efficient software. You'll be able to have greater expectations, and they will continuously grow over time. Now, what AI isn't, it is not really the sense of artificial intelligence like as we see it in the movies, right? It's not emotionally aware. It doesn't actually understand anything. It doesn't understand anything at all. So it has no comprehension. It just is able to predict what's the best next best thing to say. Now, since there's no context, right? So naturally, we will find the software gets better and better as we build software that grasps context from the large language model. So you've got like some type of context interpreter,
Yeah.
and I think that's going to be very common with building software. So, are we going to continue as we are today? I don't think so. I don't think there's a chance in that. I think that, I mean, if you look at the landscapes, and I know Eric Schmidt was saying we're going to see more lawyers, right? Well, what happened, right? Because live music used to be a huge thing, right? In the 20s and 30s, you have pianists playing in every nightclub and the bars. Are there more musicians or less musicians after they had implemented like the DJ and CD player and that type of thing? So I'm not really sure about that overall, but. So now that leads to point two, like no more financial advisors. Now, you can't replace what a financial advisor does with AI or software or machine. And I think I've said this a few times before, but being an advisor is being able to, you're dealing with somebody's life savings. I mean, let's say like, Automwrite is tremendously successful. We do very well. And I have a financial advisor one day. It's a lot of hard work. I work 7 days a week. So does the rest of the team. We work very hard. So all the toil and effort, and this is what you'll find with clients that are very well off. They'll all have had a journey where they had a special skill set and they applied that for many years. And like the safety of their family and the future of the family is in somebody, they want to take that responsibility and offload into the financial advisor. So you can never replace being able to look your advisor in the eye and for him to tell you you're going to be okay. I will take care of your finances, and you're going to be in a very good position going forward. And these are the reasons why. I don't think people are ever going to trust software to be able to do that. It's a relationship business. Okay. So at least that's from that perspective. Now, will there be less advisors? Yes, but that's because there's less clients. That's how I see it, right? I could be wrong, but that's my interpretation of it. So I think you're absolutely right. It is definitely number 3, more sophisticated financial advisors, and being able to service them better. And going to point 4 about being able to access more financial advice education. I think it's true. I mean, even if you look at the ability to have access to a lot of this, how do you invest into the stock market, right? It's a much more easily accessible thing today than it was 20 years ago or 30 years ago. They've commoditized it, maybe a little bit too much. So, in the US, it becomes, because if you don't know what you're doing, if you aren't a financial professional, it becomes a little bit of some clients might not understand it well enough and invest some money and lose some money and so forth. So, yeah. So anyways, yeah. I think you're very much on point with everything that we will be going through in the future. So I hope that answers the questions.
Yeah.
I love this topic. So sorry if I went on for long about it. But
yeah. No, it's that's really interesting. And who knows? There may be another scenario that we've not kind of thought of yet. Perhaps we should ask ChatGPT and see what he or she has to say. Interesting. So we are where we are though, and there's a lot of financial advisors. They either are or in getting into it. But the question keeps coming up: what's the best tool for doing this? And I just want to ask you guys: is that the right question to be asking?
Look, I think so. I mean, it's just like with any product, right? They used to have Consumer Reports in the US when people used to trust magazines and
Mhm.
had institutional trust before they kind of go to, I think YouTubers and a lot of user feedback, user trust is what people kind of go to nowadays. Um, but I think it's natural to want to know what is the best solution for you. I think it just,
So that's it. So that's interesting. So to me, the question doesn't sound very strategic
okay.
about the business. To me that sounds like it's a question about tools and tech. Do you guys see AI as tools and tech, or do you see it as something that can facilitate something bigger and more exciting,
Well, I
or
mean,
solve a big problem?
I mean, over the next year or even less, I would say a lot of the typical operations you have in your back office. So for 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 what we could do with our roadmap and for the technical capabilities that we have in particular, um, you just even just adding a few integrations to what we have right now, the back office as people kind of see it. Well, the cost of running the operations for a financial advisor will go down dramatically, right? So if we're looking at, 100,000 a year or something, you've got if you staff, it probably won't cost so much. So either you can have a business where instead of needing to have people that are doing certain types of functions, like for instance, like writing reports, you could have them write significantly more reports. Or if that was almost out of your budget and you had to have somebody on board because you couldn't service your clients otherwise, you actually have some other options now. I wouldn't underestimate the capability that new software will have coming out in terms of just like some type of value add or add-on. I guess it depends on how you quantify that. The design perspective that we've taken is if you ask for something, you should just get it, just like a person. And you find that using ChatGPT too. You can say, put together a research report for me, and it kind of does that. And I think that's where we're heading with, give me this suitability report, and then you kind of get it back, or
Yeah.
give me this kind of cash model, or for a client, and insert it into the report. If you could do that for me, please, and then you do. But instead of taking hours, it's done within a matter of a minute or two or
Yeah, yeah.
seconds or something else like that. So now, if people define that as a tool, then yes, I think that we're still kind of looking at tools. If people
I
define that as
noticed.
more, then yeah.
Yeah, I noticed on a post of yours, or I don't know who wrote it on LinkedIn, a comment about taking like a week's worth of work and bringing it down to 10 minutes.
I mean, I would say depending on the speed of your power planner, it could be accurate. I mean, some people have it faster than others. This is how
Yeah.
it goes. Depending on the amount of information you have to read through to build that report too, I think is important too. We have a a way of importing information that does allow us to gain context. So we do understand the information, right? We don't just rely on large language models because we know that it can't necessarily understand the things that it's doing. So,
Mm.
uh, yeah, I would say that's accurate. If it takes you I would say 2.5 days per report, and given that reports are written in between like a minute and 5 or a minute 40 seconds, I would say that's pretty accurate,
Yeah, yeah.
something like that.
Okay, hopping. Thank you, Logan. That's brilliant. Just hopping over to back to Wesley. We were talking a little bit earlier about how this all came to be and what you were focusing on before, and why on earth did you think financial services and financial advice was a good idea? Just tell me a bit more about that.
Okay, thank you, Phil. So, well, the journey for me, at least it began about 18 months ago. So at that time, I was living in Dubai. I was working in banking. I was selling software as a service to banks and large financial institutions across Middle East and Africa. Some of the major banks and telcos and fintechs. And it was a sunny Sunday afternoon, I believe, and I was sat by the pool, and Logan gave me a call, and he said, "Listen, I He was finalizing his software engineering degree at that time, and he said, "Listen, I think I can solve what was at at the time when he was working in financial advice, his biggest pain point, which is the report writing process." And he's like, "I think that I came up with a solution that can automate the writing of these complex regulatory reports that."
Yeah.
Logan was a pretty good power planner. He could probably write a report in maybe a day or half a day, but he's like, I can bring that down now to 1 minute. Myself being, a sales guy, a business individual, it was that kind of light bulb moment that lit up for me, which is like, this is absolutely fantastic.
Mm.
Because in sales and for financial advisors, it's all about helping to solve problems. And I think the biggest problem that you can solve, the better idea, the better the solution. And at that time, really, this was still quite new, and no one else was really, looking at solving these problems. So I was in straight away. I was like, okay, what do we need to do to get this idea up and running? Logan put together in about 3 weeks' time a MVP solution, so minimal viable product,
Yeah.
um, which was, essentially at that time like a Chat GPT wrapper,
Okay.
right? And it could do
Cool.
reports. It could do reports, but Logan,
Well, we did the end review in particular, right? So you upload your fact find and then you get an end review back. And so that
Yeah.
was like the general idea, but it just relied 100% on
correct,
AI at the time.
correct.
Yeah.
And the issues that we found from that, and I'm sure if you've used ChatGPT, I'm sure everyone on this call has used ChatGPT before, it can be a little bit inconsistent and unreliable sometimes with the output.
Mm.
We call them hallucinations these days, where ChatGPT sometimes is inaccurate information, and Logan did not deem this quality output to be sufficient for financial advisors to actually be able to use. It's a great
Yeah.
idea, it's a great concept. It looks great, but these reports are very, very important for financial advisors, and they need to be 100% accurate 100% of the time.
Yes. Yes.
So um, at that point, we went back to the drawing board, and we went and recruited the finest software engineers that we could find in the UK. We
Hmm.
went to all the Russell Group graduates, the people that learned about these large language modules as these large language models were being released, and therefore, as a team, we have a very strong understanding of the weaknesses of these large language models, and as well as the strong points.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people on the team have done everything from, creating their own machine learning model pipelines to actually understanding the mathematics but behind it and creating their own machine learning algorithms. I would say, most of the team, we got some pretty exceptional people. I mean, like even like it was a pretty big challenge overall. And then you take a lot of that machine learning, expertise, and then you have someone like Liam, who's founding engineer of a company that sold for hundreds of millions. And we got to put together a really good, a really good team. We got very lucky, I think, in that aspect. I've had some people say that too, and so I don't mean to interrupt, Wes.
No, 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 no. Well, the, the team creates the technology, right? So having great people was the first step for us in
Yeah.
this journey. How do we go out and how do we get the best people that we can get to build the best product that we can build to help solve this problem? And I won't go too technical. I'll leave that to Logan and Liam. But essentially, we was able to create our own kind of custom built algorithms that give us the ability to have a very controlled quality output on these reports.
Yeah.
And what we do is we combine um, we combined the software building the reports actually specifically to that firm. So every time that we are going to onboard a new financial advice firm, we have a conversation with them. We will take on board the firm's service proposition. So and understand what makes that firm, what makes them unique. We understand their pricing models. We understand their CIP
Mhm.
platforms that they use. We understand their risk profile wording and their branding. And that enables us to, with a combination of our custom built algorithms and the information that we have on that firm to then write a report that's bespoke, customized specifically for that firm. And Logan and Liam will go into a little bit more the technical details
That's
around this.
that's really. I mean, you're obviously hitting the right mark. An advisor in our group only yesterday said, talking about you guys, said these guys really are listening to advisors' needs. I've got a lot of hope for them.
Thank you, Phil. So that's another thing that we do. So we work very, very closely with Automwrite existing members. And personally, I have, weekly touch point calls with the existing members to gather their feedback, understand from them what they like, what they don't like. And we are constantly driving, the developments and changes to really improve the solution. Our objective is
Mm.
to make a tool for financial advisors that they can actually use
Yeah, yeah.
that fits the requirements. We know that writing suitability reports is a very complex art, and we've done a good job, I believe personally, in terms of working with the market, understanding their requirements, as well as building great technology that can cater
Yeah,
to
yeah.
these requirements.
Well, we better have a look at it then. Let's see the dog and pony show.
Awesome. Perfect. We'll hand the mic over to Liam so he can walk you through the journey. Whilst Liam kind of pulls it up, you can look at Automwrite essentially as like your own in-house power planning software tool. So for advisors, it's great because it can essentially help you write the reports for you. For power planners, it's also a fantastic tool because it helps drive a lot of efficiencies in how
And
you.
if I could interrupt very quickly, I love that super simple layout. I mean, what's not to like?
I feel that a lot of work has been gone into making it very, very simple to use. We've understood from conversations with Logan, a lot of software that's built or was previously built for advisors would require weeks of training,
It-
Mm.
page-long
there's a little bit more UI that kind of comes on a little bit afterwards, but as a design principle, we really focus on trying to make the experience as easy as possible to use and the least amount of work, right? Because ideally, you're paying for software because you want to do less work, so we don't want to give you
Yeah, yeah.
more work to do. But thank you. At least it does get there is a little bit more afterwards when you click on the client profiles, but.
Sure.
Um,
All right, thank you.
Absolutely. Let's get on with the demo then. Cool, brilliant.
Thank you,
So,
Liam.
so yeah, no worries. So this is the dashboard. It is, as Logan mentioned, focused on simplicity. So, uh, as a first point of what you see in the software, you basically, you get access to information that helps you jump into immediately starting the process of engaging with your report writing. So we have recent clients. This allows you to find the clients that you've recently interacted with, and so you can get back to what you maybe were already doing. Some recent activity. This allows you to basically see the kind of stuff that's happened. Sometimes if you have things processing, you get some notifications. You can see those here. Opportunities panel. This is a feature that we have coming out in the future. It's at the moment we just have kind of like a preview of what it will look like. Logan briefly touched on it. It will allow you to look inside of your client bank and it will give you some suggestions so you can see some examples with these crystals that will have some numbers on them in the future. And we have the main chat. I'm not going to go into the main chat at the moment, but you can imagine that once you have quite a lot of clients, you maybe want to ask questions about your existing client bank, go into a broader question set. But as part of this demo, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to make a dummy client called David Johnson, and then we're going to walk through the letter writing process. So this is basically the only manual entry that you really have to do, which is to first of all enter your client's name in, and then after that, we require you to add some supporting documents. We have a fact find that we're going to use. It's a fake one that we put together, and while this uploads, so this is the client view screen, and you can see here that it's processing the file. We're gonna take a quick look at the fact finds, and we're gonna have a look through the kind of information that we've provided the system with as a starting point to kind of understand understand really how the demo works. So you can see here that we've got a made up fact find for David's. It's got some handwriting. This is actually Logan's handwriting. So it's kind of to demonstrate the fact that the system is capable of taking in these notes, and in some cases the words are not not massively legible, which is good for a test case because it shows you that, and
Mm.
independent of your own handwriting, you should be able to upload a document and have it feed in the information. We've got some other data here. We've got home address, we've got postcode stuff. Actually, we haven't got a postcode. Nationality. We've got various pieces of information going on for the client. You can see we've got some dependents, some employment history, some income, some expenditure. All the kind of normal stuff you'd expect to find inside of a fact find is kind of listed here. Some protection. We've also got a pension in here as well because we'll be doing a pension switch at the end of the demo as well, which you can see here. And at the bottom of this fact find, we also have some more handwritten notes that outlines the client's attitude to risk. And so they've come to the agreement that he's a 5 out of 10. Cool. So there is an inconsistency, as you all are aware, occasionally in these fact finds, mistakes are made. The main one is the fact that in his expenditure, he's got a mortgage that's 1,500. And then later on down here, you can see that there's no mortgage and that there's a mortgage payment for 2,000, which is an obvious mistake that we've made on purpose inside of the fact find.
Well, I kind of made up the data, so it was, since it's made up data, I could have
Right.
had more consistency in my fictional client, but yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Great. So back onto the demo here, you can see that we've got the screen that's popped up and it's happened immediately as soon. So this is a feature with inside Automwrite. It's basically looked at the data, it's found some inconsistencies, and it's now asking us to make a decision. Obviously in the fact find it outlined there was no mortgage, and then in the expenditure outlined that there was a mortgage and that they're paying for it. And so as part of as part of our system, we basically require you to make a decision. So you can imagine that if you had a power plan in the business, they might go back to the financial advisor and say, hey, I'm really not sure what's going on here. There's a mortgage, no mortgage, tell me what the answer is. So in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and accept that there is a mortgage for 1,500. We're going to confirm that. And so now that we've resolved that, that's essentially, let's put that into the system and so it understands about it. Cool. So this is the letter writing page. We do have to provide some more information. So we are missing a postcode. That is correct. And we don't have a date of birth for the client. These are also not included. So we're going to have to update the system and let it know about these things. Or we could upload some extra documents, some extra supporting detail. So
it's because if you write a report, we kind of need to know like the bare minimum about a client in order to actually get like a decent quality report. Because the power planner would be asking these questions. And so in absence of a power planner, we try to ask.
Right. Absolutely. So over here on the left, we've got the client info tab. And so in here, you can see some of the information that was picked up from the fact find. So we've got some cash, we've got some investments, we've got a pension that we talked about earlier, and we have a main residence, and then also a client risk. So the client info screen allows you to take a wide view of what your client has. It doesn't include all of the information, but we'll get onto what you can use the chat for over here on the right to really narrow in on something specific you might want to know about your client. But this hopefully gives you a good enough picture of your client's circumstances for you to be able to start interacting with the rest of the screens. And so we've got some portfolios. This gives you a view. It shows you we've got some stocks and shares ISA here, and we've also got a pension plan. And so you can also narrow in on these if you click here further. Written letters, we'll come back to this once we've written a letter. The files. So as part of our CRM aspect to the solution, you can also always go back and find the files that you've uploaded to the system. So if you can imagine that you eventually have like 20 files for a client, you maybe want to go back to something that you uploaded last year and download it again and get access to it. Transcriptions. So we have no audio files at the moment. As part of the demo, we're going to actually make a recording on the device, and then we'll be able to come back here and have a look at the transcriptions feature. So just to kind of showcase the system, we're going to quickly go in and update some information. So the client's postcode is, let's see.
Update mode too. Because there's advice and update mode, so you might want to click on.
Yeah. So in most cases, the chat will just figure it out for you automatically, which is good because it means that you don't necessarily always have to think about it. But in the case where maybe the information that you're uploading is a bit harder for it to understand that it's client data as opposed to just a question or something else, you can always choose to basically change the mode that it's in. So in advised mode, it's gonna go ahead and it's gonna try and give you an answer to something as opposed to say updating the client's information or beginning a report or doing something else. And we're also going to say David's date of birth is let's say 01/07 1969. And so you can see actually that it chose to do it here. Basically, what we typed in wasn't particularly clear in some aspects to understanding that it was to try and update the client's information. So it's gone ahead and it's added a little extra snippet above it saying, can you please update this client information? And so that adds a little bit of extra context so that the system correctly understands what to do with the information that you're passing in. So in a second here, it's going to finish importing this data, and then we're going to get access to the letter writing because we'll have cleared all of the requirements. And so now we've also made sure that we have a postcode and that we have a date of birth. You can see those again here on the client info. So we're going to go back to write letters, and we're just going to immediately go ahead and write an annual review. You can see here that we have some health check requirements. And so some of the ones you saw were the ones that were the obvious kind of blockers. You can't really write a letter if we don't have those because it essentially won't create a high quality enough report. But you may get some more things such as like optional enhancements, extra information that if you do provide it will result in an even better letter.
Yeah.
And so really, it's as fast as that. And we're now going to go ahead and start writing the annual review. This will take about 30 seconds on average, maybe a little bit faster, maybe a little bit slower some days.
Any questions so far? Whilst we wait for the page to load, do you have any questions for us? Any questions from the audience?
We're good at the moment.
Okay.
I'm just thinking also, you're going through this sort of relatively slowly for the sake of a demo. I would imagine, once you're used to using this, you just whip through this in no time.
Start to finish, it is about 2 minutes from account creation to an annual review. It's about 2 minutes. If you're going to do a pension switch report, it's a little bit more complex because the pension switch report is a little bit more complex. Maybe 2 to 4 minutes. The whole process.
What do we like time-wise, Phil?
We're fine for we're fine.
Sorry, can I just ask a question?
15 minutes.
A question asked about the possibility of batching reports together at some point going forward. So if you've actually uploaded all the relevant documentation, it's uploaded all the information, you've got 10 clients, for instance, there, is there a possibility then of going prepare 10 annual reviews, and will it do that? Or can it do that in the future?
So what we try to do right now, so there's two different types of automation. So this right here, this interview is fully automated. So in that case, yes, naturally we could put together some type of batch processing for an interview. However, what we have moved towards in terms of the report writing capabilities is for you to actually ask what you want in your annual review. So we're re-releasing this annual review, so you can say, for David, I kind of want a fund switch. He's been in this portfolio for a while. I'd like for him to invest into something else, and then rewrite the report that you intend to be written. I think the risk of moving in the direction of, because let's say we could do the same thing for a pension switch. You could do batch pension switch reports or a batch, there's nothing that would then stop us, for instance, from making a full analysis of the client bank, right, from our perspective, and saying, well, all of these clients could use advice. You press the button, you actually get everything. You get all the emails sent out to the clients, booking the appointments and so forth. But what we, since we don't have a managed relationship with the client, we don't know all of the background behind what's been said or hasn't been said and so forth. We'd always try to have some type of intermediary step where the advisor actually says, for this client in particular, this is exactly what I want. So we're not really part of that advice. We try to shy away from being part of the advice process as much as possible to leave, everything down to the advisor. If that makes sense. What do you think, Paul? Is that
I,
yeah?
I think where I'm coming from here is that the power planner stroke advisors put all the information in about what you've just actually described about I'm moving from pension A to pension B, etc., and so on, right? But he doesn't necessarily want the report at that point in time. He'll be prepping all this for his next week's work. And on that basis, for instance, what I'm saying is if it's all been prepped and you've got 10 clients and they've all been prepped with whatever the information is, can we just produce 10 reports at some point for the next week's work?
Yeah, I mean, since it takes about a minute or so to write a report, you can just you know ask for the report to be printed whenever you need it to be
I'm
written.
thinking of grabbing those 10 clients, grabbing the 10 clients with a box on the left-hand side that says choose client, tick, 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 with a little box by it. And then on that basis, for instance, you tick those clients, the information has been dragged either from the fact finder or back office system into that. You've updated the client information or whatever you want, but you're then into the report you actually want to and batch it all together on the basis that it's going to spit out either one report at a time, which is 10 lots of clicking, should we say, or one lot of clicking by batching that report and actually getting 10 reports out of it.
I mean that is something that I mean technically something like this could be done. I don't see a reason why not. If you wanted to have all the reports written in parallel or consecutively, it would just mean saving the advice like a week prior and then afterwards coming back to it, and then giving the opportunity to kind of like write that report at the time. Um, that is something that could be done. But since it's so quick to write reports now, um, I mean, if this is of interest, we can sort of look into something like this. We
It was
don't do
just a
that stuff
question,
enough in
obviously,
Malta.
with one of our systems here, obviously, that, the facility, I think, is to batch up to 12 client reports together, which gets used quite a lot, actually. So
Okay.
I'm just thinking of if it isn't broke, don't fix it scenario. And
Hmm.
you want to buy software that actually works the way that you want it to do, rather than actually the way the software wants you to actually force you down another route that actually may be duplicating what you're already doing somewhere else.
Thank you both. Essentially, what we've done is we designed the software to work in the same way as a financial advisor would usually work today, which is to request a report and to get that report given back to him, essentially. What we deliver is we don't deliver a kind of a generic automated template report. We deliver a bespoke, customized report that's specific to the firm and
No, I
also
appreciate that, and I like that aspect of the system whereby obviously each report is customized for each client. It was how it should be from an annual review report, anyway. But it was just a case of can the system literally process 10 at a time with that customization already been done previously?
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's just a matter of so you just essentially would save the customization
Yeah,
basically. So you just
that's what
have
I
to
mean.
save it and then put it on a list somewhere to come back to.
Okay.
But the work is kind of done ahead of time.
And
So
sorry, just
I mean,
just one more question. I
of
think
course.
we've probably done that one to death there. But one more question in relation to pulling the data for an existing client that has already had data uploaded to a back office system. Can it pull that data into the report from the integration?
The
Do you have to physically go file, upload PDF, and it reads that report?
So we have our own API wrapper. So if you have your own CRM or something that you're using, we do integrations with our software. So we allow anyone to be able to have some type of integration. This is something that we facilitate. We are still working on the integration with Intelligent Office, which is a popular one. But for a lot of larger companies, they seem to have their own CRM
Yeah.
effectively. And so we facilitate integrations. We have an API wrapper that allows you to access the endpoints that you need to have like automatic like data transfer between one and the other. And because of the automated import system, there's no manual entry needed.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Great.
Thanks.
And Tim's got a question. What's the situation re GDPR?
So all of the data, right, that we have, it's all on London AWS servers. So it's the same servers that were used by the UK government. And within the account, so all of the information that you might upload, is fully in control of the advisor. You can actually request account deletion from the actual software itself. So we have an in-house cybersecurity expert as well. So we take these things very seriously. Essentially, everything we do is UK based for that reason.
Let's hop back to Liam.
Okay, cool. So we're in the report. For the aspect of time, I'm just going to have a quick scroll through here. There's quite a lot of information that comes out as part of these reports. Yeah, so we've got some different stuff, cash flow modeling, got some investments, some sections to protection, estate planning. It's important to remember that David we haven't really got a lot of information about David. And so the more information you provide, the more, the more concrete and probably a little bit longer the actual document becomes at the end. But we aim for like a good size report that covers all of the the necessary requirements for you to be able to basically check it out and then send it on to your clients.
Liam, just since we are running out of time, we've got 7 minutes left. Maybe we should do like the
Absolutely.
audio and then do the pension switch, because the pension switch is kind of that showcases a lot of what the technology does.
Right, let's go ahead and do that. So just going to jump back to David. We're going to make an update to David's situation. We're gonna change his cash savings from 20,000 to 30,000, and we're gonna add a new asset as well. So over here on the right, I've got the Automwrite app. I'm gonna go ahead and select client. Going to select David. So obviously there's 2 ways you can do this. The way that I'm going to use it is just to say I've had a meeting with David. We've come to the conclusion that some changes have been made. Let's go ahead and update his stuff. You could obviously record your meetings as well. You could place your phone down on a stand or something and then record the meeting, and it's going to automatically push that into the CRM. So
great.
So I've recently spoken to David, and he's informed me that his cash savings have increased to 30,000, and he's also recently gone out and purchased a motorbike for £25,000. Cool. And so we get this little screen here. We're going to send the consultation, and you can see that it immediately starts updating in the platform, in the software. And it's going to start processing the data, and it's going to do 2 things. It's going to update the client bank with the new information that it finds, and it's also going to go ahead and make a reading of the transcription. And as part of that transcription, we'll be able to have a look at some of the client objectives that come as part of that. So, as you may be aware, in really long meetings, you'll probably come out with loads of things that you want to do for the client, or that you want to at least remember for another meeting. And so it's really nice to be able to have something concrete that's also concise enough for you to read over and remember what happened from the meeting. And then of course you can view the whole transcript. As part of the CRM solution, you can also download the audio again and listen back to it. And so we can see here that's processing at the moment.
Essentially, Phil, what we've done is we're looking to help advisors to streamline the whole kind of process from start to finish.
Yeah.
The usual journey of the financial advisor would be he would go and have a meeting with his client. You would usually have to use maybe a recording device, or in these days using a recording device. Previously, maybe a printed fact find, and you have handwritten notes like the fact find that we used to write the report.
Yeah.
And from there, you would have to then go back to the office, update your CRM with the information of that meeting, type in all the information, lots of manual entry that needs to be done. Some information could have been missed out in that process. What we've done here is from the very start of the engagement, we enabled the advisor to capture all the information through the voice recording solution. It also then updates your CRM for you instantly. Like you can see here, it's done. It's updated this in real time.
Done before you get back to the office.
Exactly. And on top of that, it's now written for you the whole transcription. Liam, maybe if you don't mind clicking on the transcript. That. Yeah, the full transcription of all the details of that discussion, any action summaries, and you have the whole transcription, which you can also download Maybe just in the interest of time, I understand we might.
In the interest of time, we should move to the
Yeah.
All right. That's right, pension switch. Let's do
This
it.
is the real fun stuff. So this is why we wanted to get you to this part. We don't want you to miss out on this.
Great. So we can see here on the left that we have David's pension plan, and we can see here that we've configured some platforms as well. We have a Fidelity Funds network. So what I've done is I've clicked Scottish Widows because it's one I want to select, and then I've also gone ahead and clicked the portfolio. You can see here on the right, this is the recommendation that we're going to be writing. And we've also got some free-form text which outlines what we want it to do. So I'm going to go ahead and hit draft advice. And what
Yeah, sorry, Liam. Just want to say effectively the free-form text is just to make it so easy you don't even have to type out the text for the switches you want. But the reasons
Yes.
why, this is for the advisor to now customize the report. Like if they want to have a switch because they're, maybe the current provider doesn't support flex access drawdown and the client wants to have some money to support their grandchildren's university. Like you add this and or maybe there's a reason why. And then that then customizes your report. So you request as you would from your power planner in plain English. And it's sorry,
No, that's absolutely it. Yeah, so you can really customize the prompts, and it will actually change the report. So, as Logan mentioned, you can change the reasons. You can also do all of this without even coming to the pension switch screen. You can simply write in chat, and it will take you to the necessary stage. So now we've been prompted to go over to the overview. It's going to show us the pension switch that we're proposing to write. It allows you to have a little look over it. You can choose to make changes if you want to by talking again to the agent, and it'll do that for you.
It's just checking to see that like the information that you provided, can we actually write a report with this, right? Or not? It's just verifying all the facts information. Do you have that AMC from the seating provider? Do you have all that information? So
that's right. And so this is the pension switch that's proposing. Yeah, that's basically it. We're going to go ahead and hit write pension switch.
Yeah.
And this pension switch, it takes a little bit longer than the annual review. Normally takes about a minute and 10 seconds or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Just in time. Just
No, but I mean, I think from my perspective, very smooth is what I'm thinking, and clearly written, clearly created with the advisor in mind. No question about that. Clearly taking into account the process. I mean, I love that, just using the app there, and it's all done. And you think how things used to be, well, still are in many cases. I mean, just while it's doing that, guys, how can people get in touch with you? Where can they find you? What's the kind of process? Can someone have a trial? Tell us all about that.
Definitely. So we offer a 7-day trial. Anyone that comes to us and mentions part of the Phil webinar, we'll extend it to a 14-day free trial. I'm happy to get on to a discussion with anyone that wishes to reach us. You can send me an email, wesley.gibson@automwrite.co.uk. Or you can go directly onto our website, automwrite.co.uk. You can directly sign up through our website. You can click to the website to contact us. We're very reactive. We're a very client-centric organization, and we take very good care of anyone that wishes to get in touch with us. We usually will be able to contact you the same day.
Fabulous. That sounds good. And look what we've got.
And this is our take as well on the pension switch report, but we can write a new report effectively. We did take in consideration. I know that some pension switch reports and stuff, they would kind of err on the longer side. We're trying to make sure that these are concise with the client in mind, that they can easily understand the advice from page 1, and that they can actually get through the report pretty quickly. But everything is 100% customizable because we actually write every report from scratch. Right. So we have all different types of conditional logic. So the report will write itself depending on the client's circumstances and kind of what is there for the client. So yeah, I'm sorry if I'm slightly over.
No, we're good. I think this has been absolutely fantastic. I tell you what, I've really been enjoying these. And this has been a real eye-opener, absolutely fantastic. So, guys, thank you so much for your time. Wesley, Liam, thanks for your demo. Logan, really appreciate your thoughts and where this has all come from. As I said, no wonder you're getting great comments from people in our community. So, excuse me, thank you so much for your time today, guys. We'll make sure the video goes out to everybody and everybody else as well. It will be literally all over the place. So thank you, Paul, as well. Thank you to everyone else for joining us today. So take care. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Cheers.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Phil.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Well, take care. Bye-bye.